Susan here. Thanks for joining on. I released a vlog, as they call them, for a wee while because, well, really, there's not been an awful lot to say that I haven't already said. But interestingly, through another course that I've been doing and through various conversations I've had, um, the topic of ego has cropped up, well, basically 4 times over the last 4 days, which is really weird. 3 times just yesterday. And it was really difficult to discuss across the board with people because different folk have different understandings, from the spiritual side right down to the psychological side. It sort of means different things to different people. But if we if we look at the ego as just as a construct, and self as self without the construct. Just for the sake of using, so that you know where I'm coming from, I'm not saying these are the definitive definitions by any manner of means. Um, I wouldn't lay claim to any of that, but I know it's really difficult to put a meaning on such vague concepts unless you specifically say who defined them, Jung or whoever. So the constructed ego, the bit that's reflected on you by society, um, is the most difficult one to get around and to break down into what you actually know and believe that you are. And it can be really destructive. You can't get past it, and it will control you. And it's really important for you to control it, as I say. Um, to know exactly who you are and what you are without any judgment, any condemnation, nobody's opinion of you, just your honest, true self. And when you get to my age, there's lots of constructs thrown at you. Well, obviously, she's old, she's past it. And then, interestingly, that has come in, been more obvious actually, from my children. And one of them did actually say to me a couple of years back, I don't really know you. I don't know who you were, because they didn't know who I was as a teenager. They didn't know who I was in my 20s, really. Um, so they forget that I was an active, working member of society at that point and not just somebody's mum. So that construct in itself was very common to housewives, house husbands, whatever, people who decide to stay at home and work with their children at an early age rather than go into paid employment because they're seen at the school or they're somebody's mum. And that's just one example, obviously. Oh, yeah, she works for this organisation, or oh, they work in McDonald's, they can't be up to much, or oh, yeah, well. Do you know, there's so many different labels stuck on us. And in today's society, the labels are becoming ever more because they want to divide us. So they're using these social constructs to divide people, when really what we need to be doing is actively working within ourselves to ignore these. They are still going to be thrown at us, they are still going to come at us, but we need to start ignoring them. And more importantly, we need to start ignoring them when they appear in our own head. Oh, you can't. I remember my son saying, you can't run across the road. Mothers don't run across the road. Before my leg was bad, I always ran across the road. I always told our kids not to run across the road, but I couldn't help it, especially in busy towns and the like. So it's this business of, oh, you can't do that for whatever reason. And then you tell yourself, oh no, I wouldn't be able to do that. Or no, I don't have that ability. Did you try? No. And on one of my previous ones, I mentioned some of the artwork that I've been doing. None of that artwork is good enough to put a price on. Nobody else would want it. But that doesn't mean to say I haven't to do it. Doesn't mean, I mean, I can still do a bit of artwork because I enjoy it. I get something out of it. I haven't done any for a while, but mind you, but I have got a wee list of things that's going to be needing done. So the key thing is to strip yourself of these labels. Think about where they came from. Are they doing you any good? Are they holding you back? And get rid. A good parent would never hold a child back, would always say, yeah, go on, give it a go. They never go, oh no, you'll never be able to do that. You're not smart enough, you're not fit enough, you're not tall enough, you're not small enough, you're not clever enough, um, a good parent would never do that. So don't do it yourself. Just a thought. But the difficulty, and always in these discussions, is defining the the words that you're using. So there I was using ego as something that has been constructed around you by yourself, by society, to inflict the guilt, to hold you back, um, and self to be what's left, the consciousness that's left when all that's stripped away. But you can call it what you need. We don't need to argue over terminology. But anyway, so get out there. I remember my daughter saying, somebody had asked her, what if there was one thing you could get rid of, what would it be? And she said embarrassment, because if there was no such thing as embarrassment, you would try anything. You wouldn't be worried about failing. And that's part of the social construct. You're worried about failing in the eyes of others because it embarrasses you. So let's know we don't need to get rid of embarrassment if we get rid of the labels and the social construct in the first place and just be yourself and be happy. Wouldn't it be great if we could just get rid of all these things that hold us back and just do what made us happy? Maybe. Anyway, try it. Thank you very much for tuning in. And if you think it'll be any useful for a discussion or for anybody else, then feel free to pass this on. Bye-bye.